Hi guys, Hi guys, welcome back to Almost a Cinephile. I am Becca and welcome back to my channel. If you love talking about movies and all things physical media, then this is your channel. I am almost a cinephile because I'm not always able to go and see new releases straight away. I have a lot of backlogged films I haven't seen yet. I have 3 children. It is very difficult for me to get to the cinema and to watch things straight away the moment they come out. So if that sounds like someone that you would love to watch, then I am your gal. We can talk about movies together, all old and new releases, not necessarily just always constantly what's coming out in the cinema. I would actually love to broaden out my movie knowledge and become a proper cinephile, but I am not there just yet. So if that sounds like your jam, then please subscribe and give this video a like. Today we are talking about the importance of physical media and why I've chosen to now start collecting or restart collecting DVDs over streaming services. What made me ultimately choose to go back to DVD collecting was firstly a kind of number of things that started to happen that started to irk me a little bit in the digital and streaming world. So when Netflix really started to become a thing and it came over to the UK, we pretty much bought into it straight away from the get-go. And it was a really new thing. There wasn't a lot of choice. There wasn't a lot of films that you could really pick from. There was a lot of old stuff on there, a lot of unknown things, a lot of foreign films. They then started to buy IPs, I assume, and Disney started popping up on there, and there were a few other things that really made you and encouraged you to carry on streaming and buying from them as a subscription service. Ultimately then, obviously, as that worked for Netflix, every single other company saw that that was something that was going to kind of change the media world forever. And then obviously they started popping up on their own platforms, i.e. like Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, and then obviously all the other ones that are kind of endless now that you can get. So then obviously things from Netflix started to disappear because they were being used by the original owners of those IPs. So Disney then took all of their stuff off of Netflix and then put it on to Disney Plus, and that meant that a lot of that kind of enticement for children dissipated and kind of went away. I have 3 kids, so streaming services really worked for us when it was available to kind of see all the Disney films on there as well. And once it was away, you then had to kind of pay for a separate streaming service. So once that happened, obviously then you are starting to buy into many different streaming services in order to catch the media that you love, the films that you really want to see, the shows that kind of you now miss because they're now not on Netflix, they've been bought or they've been kind of given back to the original owners. You're then kind of using multiple platforms. So I think altogether we had 3. We had Prime, we had Netflix, and we had Disney. I know now there's like Paramount Plus and Apple TV and all sorts of things. It's like endless now, and it can really add up cost-wise if you're having like more than one streaming service. And now recently in the streaming service industry, the news of ads and costs going up has made it more and more difficult to love streaming. Amazon especially now is advertising all the time. I think I watched an episode of Handmaid's Tale the other day and there was 2 advertisements per episode. Netflix, not so much at the moment. I think they put ads on, and now when we watch things, there's not necessarily ads on everything. I don't really know what they're doing, but also the costs are going up as well. So coming to the present and why I am sitting behind a huge stack of DVDs, I was given a DVD player. It was passed down to me. It was unwanted by a family member and it sat there for ages under our TV, and I was like, I'll just sell it or I will put it in a charity shop, but I will leave it there for the minute and just, you know, sort it out when we get to it basically. I then realised when we go secondhand shopping, which I love a secondhand shop, a charity shop in England. We love kind of scouring for deals and bargains and finding little things in places like that. You can really find some really cool stuff. I think I went out once and saw like a huge DVD section in one of them and realised that they were literally going for nothing, £1 at the most, down all the way to like 50p. So in my like kind of brain, I was sitting there thinking like, oh my god, we have a DVD player, all we needed was a cable because our TV is slightly newer than the DVD, because the DVD player is old. She is old. She's an old Sony DVD player. So we had to get a cable to put the input out into the TV. So that was like £7 on Amazon. And then the collecting started. So that's kind of the story of how we got here. I actually used to own and collect a lot of DVDs. So this isn't something that's like abnormal. This isn't something that, you know, I've seen it on social media and now I want to be a collector. I had one. I got rid of it because of kind of the millennial minimalism phase. So minimalism kind of came in and wiped out people kind of being collectors and keeping hold of things that had no value to them, things that weren't being used. And because streaming services were slowly taking over our normal watching life at that time, they were just sitting there and not being used. But that was when I feel like streaming services were at their prime, when they had a lot to offer. Obviously now that's kind of going right back down again. Netflix is extremely hit and miss, and Amazon, to be really honest, is terrible, especially if you have children and you're living in the UK. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world, but Amazon in the UK for Prime, for children especially, the content available to them is really, really bad. So we've always wanted to get rid of it, and we will be quickly getting rid of it once I've gone through The Handmaid's Tale. So streaming services then obviously quickly rode on that minimalism phase. Everything was in one compact kind of area. It was all on your TV. You didn't have to have all this extra clutter around you, and ultimately you could watch whatever you wanted from the touch of a button, rather than having to, you know, laboriously open a DVD, put it in the thing, make sure it was clean, turn it on, wait for the menu, press play. We were in kind of the era of quick content, quick and easy things, and it meant that kind of we were getting rid of all of our belongings. We were minimalizing, streamlining our lives, and a lot of this part of kind of, I think, the millennials lifestyle was dissipating, not only with DVDs, but with CDs, with music, with everything was going digital. So we all rode that wave and literally purged our homes of this stuff and moved quickly into streaming. So why I think physical media is really important is obviously ownership. Having things constantly being moved around and shuffled across different streaming platforms means that you're always chasing where it is. So if you love Friends, Gilmore Girls, if you love Simpsons, if you love kind of all those, like, you know, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, if you just really want to sit down and watch like an old school show that you used to love, it's really tricky to pinpoint exactly where it's gone. And then just because it's on one platform doesn't mean it's going to be on there for ages. So if you wanted to go back to it, it's then disappeared and gone somewhere else. And I feel like being able to own what you have and pick from what you've got, it's always going to be there. I think depending on how you collect and what you collect, you can make it as cheap as you want or as expensive as you want. And I will make another video about the kind of pros and cons of collecting physical media if you're interested. I think that's also a really important topic to touch on as well. I think when it comes to ownership and being able to own your favorites, when you're scrolling through like Netflix or Amazon and you're like, oh, you know what, I really want to watch the original Terminator. At the moment, it's on Amazon Prime, but it won't be for long. And then there'll be like a period where it's not on for like a solid year and you're like, oh, it was on there a minute ago, now it's not on there. I also find that a lot of the better films in a franchise, so like usually the first film or usually like the second film, if that's the best one, they don't show up on streaming services. You always get like Terminator Genesis, let's just use Terminator as a reference, or you get Terminator Dark Side. I've not seen that one yet, but you'll never get number one, and you'll never see Judgment Day on there. It's so difficult to find. They never put it on there, but now I own a copy. I don't have to worry about that. And I love knowing that if I fancy something, if I'm feeling like really in a mood for something, then I can obviously pop it in and watch it. There's also a point of supporting the cinema industry, the filmmaking industry. If we want to keep seeing films, we are going to have to support them in some way or another. And buying new, I know, can be expensive depending on what version you're buying. But if you really love that film, then it's probably worth buying it and supporting that movie so that they can then make more movies than trying to find it through a streaming platform. Also, if you buy anything off of Amazon Prime, you have to keep subscribing to Amazon Prime to then get it again. So if I was to delete Amazon Prime, my version of Across the Spider-Verse that I bought on Amazon Prime would also go with it until I re-logged back in and started streaming again. That copy of Across the Spider-Verse disappears the moment I stop paying for Amazon Prime. Whereas if I bought the version of Across the Spider-Verse, I would have the version of Across the Spider-Verse to keep putting in and out whenever I wanted, and no overhead costs, no extra costs on the side that would be monthly to be able to access that film that I bought. I genuinely think physical media is really having a resurgence. I don't think DVDs are dead. I don't think putting a disc in is dead. I think that is all coming back really, really quickly. You've got like boutique DVDs, you have places like Arrow and I believe Criterion. They're not as popular over here in the UK at the moment, but they are massive in America, where they do kind of really cool boutique looking films. They're very expensive, but if you love that kind of thing and you love collecting like old out of print movies, then that's another way to go about it. But if you just want a really simple collection, you don't have to go as mad as even I have, and this is small compared to a lot of collectors DVD collections, Blu-ray collections. This is teeny tiny. I only get things either I've not heard of before and I'm really interested in, or I love to bits. Like they're franchises and movies I'm going to watch forever and ever and ever. I never get anything I don't like. But this is why I think physical media is really, really important. I feel like having it in your hand, being able to watch it, also passing things down to my children, like our animation collection. We've got all the old school Disney films. I've got some of the Laker films like Coraline, Paranorman. We have some of the really old live action films like Princess Bride, Alice in Wonderland. What else do we have? Merlin. Things that we haven't seen for years, and you cannot for the life of you find on streaming services. Like the whole time I've had Netflix and Amazon, I've never ever seen these movies being put on there. So things like that, like really small hidden gems that you miss as a child yourself, you can then pass down to your children from there. And my kids love going out and hunting DVDs with me. It's like becoming our little pastime that we do over the weekends. So I would love to hear some of your guys' opinions on physical media versus streaming services. I'd be really interested to see what you guys think. I don't want to demonize streaming services. I feel like if it works for you and your family and it works for your day-to-day life, because you love just dipping in and out, you kind of watch a movie here and there, you're a once a month kind of person, you don't necessarily watch a lot of TV in general, then by all means keep streaming. Like if it works for you, I think then that's amazing. I think personally for me it's just not working as well anymore, and I would rather invest in something I can keep forever, hopefully, rather than constantly having to pay a subscription fee. So we are going to abolish Amazon Prime. That's going to go the moment I finish Handmaid's Tale, and then Netflix we are going to keep for a little bit longer, see how we go kind of with a big movie collection and Netflix as well. If Netflix no longer serves us a purpose either, then we will also be getting rid of that as well. So I just wanted to share complete transparency, because there's a lot of people out there that collect physical media, but they still watch the majority of their shows via the streaming platforms. So we still watch a lot of Netflix, a lot of YouTube, and we have this to be able to kind of dip in and out of, which I really, really enjoy, and that works for us. I just think if you absolutely love your movies and you really want to enjoy them the best way you can, but you're kind of getting a bit fed up with what streaming is turning into, then I would definitely turn back to physical media and DVD ownership, or Blu-rays, or steelbooks, or Criterion collections, or however 4Ks now. There's so many different ways to consume content that you can kind of pick anything as long as it works for you. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I've really enjoyed talking about physical media, and I love the world of it. I love watching other creators as well showing off their collections and going through what they love about this whole kind of world of owning your own versions of films, especially people that really love movies. I think is really cool, and this community seems to be growing really quickly as well, which is really cool to see. So if you love what I have said, if you agree with what I've said, or you think that anything I've said is interesting to any of you, please give this video a thumbs up, comment below on how you guys deal with kind of physical media versus streaming. Do you prefer streaming? Do you prefer collecting physical media? Let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.